These Cold Walls of Thunder Bay, Chapter 7. If we thought life at Thunder Bay was hard before, it was made 10 times worse by the presence of Officer Ellis. He seemed to take an instant dislike to us after that day in the canteen, and there was just no reasoning with him. No matter what we did or where we were, he was watching us, breathing down our necks, and if someone put a toe out of line, we got an earful of abuse, and sometimes would be hit, or sometimes we would find ourselves chucked in ourselves. It was horrible. Stanley would often suggest that we should go and speak to Dolan about him, but what good would that do? It would probably make the matter worse. On the good side, Art and Stanley were working hard on the escape plan. We managed to get those pillows sent in for our back problems, and we had even begun to get word that Dolan was sending in extra jackets for use on the railroads. One morning Stanley and I were speaking to one of the cleaners, a very angry and stern man. "Where does that rubbish chute actually lead to?" Stanley asked. "Oh, God knows. It'll take you down by the yard somewhere for them to collect it, and chuck it all in a boat onto the mainland," he replied. That's all Stanley needed to know. I think he was just worried that it would lead us into a staff zone where the guards would find us and have us shot on first sight. We were just leaving the kitchen area when we bumped into Ellis. "Well, lads, what are we all up to here? A bit of spring cleaning?" He had one of those smug, snorting laughs that did nothing but annoy us more. "Something like that, sir," I replied. "Well, why stop here?" he said. "There's an entire prison out there that needs to be cleaned up." "We actually have other work to do, sir," I said. I think he could tell he was annoying me. "I don't think you heard me, boy. I have an entire prison out there that needs cleaned. Get to it, or else." He held up his fist. "Well, you know what? Go for it. Just smack me one and get it over with," I shouted. Stanley was trying to calm me down. "Just leave it, George. We can do some cleaning before we go back to work." I stood there just staring at Ellis. He was staring right back at me. It seemed like he was staring into my soul. Stanley picked up a mop. "Good boys," he said as he marched off. I just managed to hold my tongue. I didn't want to get into serious trouble and risk the plan. That wouldn't have helped us at all. We set to work cleaning the kitchen and the hallways. "He's such a nasty bit of work," I said to Stanley. Of course Stanley, throughout all of this, didn't seem to be fazed. He had his mind on Alice and had his heart set on getting home. I'm sure Alice's plan was to work us to death. He had decided that we were the ones that were going to suffer, and he didn't care who else knew. Each morning we would be awoken earlier than everyone else, do 2 hours of cleaning jobs before breakfast, head to work, then come back to the prison for a few hours' sleep before doing it all over again. "The man is a total bully," I said to Art one morning when we finally got the chance to take a break. "I think someone should give him a bit of the old Yorkie treatment." Art just laughed. "Okay, boys, I know you're busy," he started, "but I've got everything in place. I've taken a bit of time to check out the prison grounds from the windows. There's always a small rowing boat docked at the bottom. I can see it from my window." Stanley's face lit up. "Do you think we'll be able to take it?" he asked. "I think so," Art replied. "I don't think it's tied up to anything, so we should be able to just take it and row. It'll save us having to battle the sea." Stanley gave Art a high five. "This is it, lads. We're heading home." God, that boy had so much optimism, much more than I had anyway. Maybe I just couldn't see past this place or Ellis. They'd got to me a little bit too much. We'd been doing the stupid cleaning jobs for nearly a week, when one day Governor Dolan was walking through the wing. I took my chance. "Sir, may I have a quick word?" I asked. Dolan stopped and turned on his heel. "What do you want?" he asked. "I'm very busy, so this better be quick." I wasn't sure if I wanted to say anything now. I just wondered if it was possible that Officer Ellis could lay off us a bit, maybe give us a bit of time to recover from the extra jobs he's been giving us to work on. I can tell this wasn't going to be good. "Leave it with me. I'll try and have a word with him and see what I can do," he said. Well, I certainly didn't expect that. I just hated to think how bad it would be if the escape didn't go to plan and we ended up being stuck here until the day we died with that man. Art walked up to me. "That was such a bad idea, George," he said. "Ellis will come down on you like a ton of bricks." I really didn't care anymore. "Let him," I said. "Just a shame I don't have a bottle to sort him out with." A few lads around me had a laugh at that. I'd forgotten what it was like to have a laugh. That's the problem with this place. It kills you inside, then out. The day's work had been done, and it was time for us to head back to our cells to get a few hours' rest before we went to do it all over again. The prison was dark by the time I got back, so when I went into my cell that night, I didn't see him. But there he was, waiting in the corner for me. Ellis. "Welcome back, George. Has it been a rough day?" "What the hell are you doing in here?" I asked. "I've come to say good night, George, and to tell you that I won't be making you do any more hard work." I didn't believe it. "Okay, thank you. You can leave now," I said. "Oh no, I can't," he said. His voice had such a sinister tone to it. "I can't let you leave without giving you this," and without missing a beat, he smacked me in the stomach. I fell to the ground, holding myself in pain. He battled into me, kicking me, stamping on my arms and kicking my head. Surely this wasn't how it was going to end. If I didn't fight back, he was going to kill me. He stepped back to look at me. I managed to just pull myself up from the floor and turned away. I saw the chamber pot handle sticking out from under the bed. I pretended I was bending down in pain, but I grabbed it and swung it. I got him. The pot smashed on impact, and he fell unconscious on the floor. My screams had attracted the other guards, who came charging in and grabbed me. They too started beating me. It was him, I shouted. I was only protecting myself. There was no point. For every single word I said, I got about 10 beatings. "That's it, lad," one of the guards shouted. "You're off down to confinement." "No, you can't," I shouted. I was protecting myself against him. He's the one that should be locked up, not me. It was pointless. They dragged me, kicking and screaming, down the corridors. I was shouting and spitting. That's when one of them got me. I was out cold. I was about to experience another delight of being locked away in Thunder Bay prison. Confinement.